Picture this, it's after midnight in a small town in Texas where nothing really happens. The streets are quiet, the air is thick, and if you don't have a car, what do? You walk. Everyone knows you, but no one's really watching. This is Jasper, Texas, and this is the last night of James Byrd Jr.'s life. And what happened to him did not just expose 3 men, it exposed an entire town. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jessie May, and today I'm back with another true crime video. If you're new to my channel, I talk about true crime cases and I do my makeup. If you're into that, please subscribe to me. On to the video. Jasper liked to call itself a good town. Church-going, family-oriented, but only if you stayed on the right side of town. Black residents, they had their own neighborhoods, they had their own area. Even by death, they were separated. They had their own segregated cemeteries. If Black residents of Jasper, Texas complained about certain things, they were often overlooked and not heard. If something happened to a Black person in Jasper, Texas, it did not make headlines. Racism in Jasper, Texas was not dramatic, it was comfortable, meaning that it was normalized. Especially when we talk about the 90s or the 70s, 80s, like that was normal. James Byrd Jr., he was not a stranger in the town. He was born and raised in Jasper, Texas, like that was his home. Even when his home didn't love him back, that was his home. He grew up during Jim Crow, so he had to learn how to survive very early on in his childhood. James, he worked different jobs. He did struggle like most Black people in Jasper, Texas did. He didn't have much, but he did have his family. Due to the fact of James not having a car, he had to walk everywhere. People saw him all the time, just walking, passing by. James, he was not invisible in his community, but he was invisible to power. It's a very early Sunday morning. It's around 1 a.m. James been to a few gatherings, a few parties, and he was drinking, but he was not causing no problems whatsoever. He does what he always do. He begins to walk home. He started walking along Martin Luther King Boulevard. This is when a pickup truck pulls aside him. Inside were 3 white men. It was Sean Berry, John William King, Lawrence Russell Brewer. So these 3 white men offered James a ride. James, he hesitated for a second and he was like, okay, you know what? I want to ride. You're probably like, Jess, so where is the problem? I'm gonna tell you. So James did not know that 2 men in that truck were white supremacists. King and Brewer were the white supremacists in that truck. And he did not know that sitting in the truck was just enough to make one of them furious. You see, King, he was enraged that James was in the pickup truck. He did not want him in that truck. The reason why he was so upset, it was simply because he was Black. That was it. That was the trigger. That was the trigger for King. The truck did not head towards James' house. They decided to take a turn away from town, away from light, toward Huff Creek Road. This is not sudden. This is not impulsive. This is planned. They pulled James out the car. They beat him. Mind you, James, he's drunk, okay? They chained his ankles to the back of the truck and then they drove. Do you know how sick you have to be to do that to a person? Do you know? They drove 3 miles while James' ankle was tied to the back of the truck. And James, he was conscious during these 3 miles. This whole thing was a hate crime. This is the type of hate that grows. And like this whole thing was really disgusting. And there's also a documentary, The Town of Jasper or something like that. I'll put a picture. But this documentary, it's a really big eye-opener that people of Jasper Town has been dealing with this for a long time. When they were driving that 3 miles, they hit James. He hit this concrete looking thing and his head came off of his body. They dragged that man around as if he was nothing. Do you know? They probably protected their animals. Do you know how disgusting that is? They rather save an animal and protect an animal than a human being. Disgusting. And when that drive was over, what was left of James, they dumped him. They dumped him in the Black section of a cemetery. A segregated cemetery. Disgusting. The next morning, police and investigators, they've gotten a call. They went over there, checked it out. So they first thought that this was a hit and run. because when Black death has been minimized long enough, even the unthinkable gets in the way. It takes physical evidence, eyewitnesses, public pressure. Only then does the truth surface. When they realized that this was not no hit and run, this was a hate crime, cameras, protesters, questions, and Black residents finally saying what they have been saying for years. They talked about being ignored. They talked about being mistreated. they talked about not being taken serious. What was shocking is that, it wasn't even shocking, but what's hurtful is that the town cared then. It's like, why care now? It took you this far. It took a man head coming off his shoulders for you to care now. James' family and everybody else, the town, they were fighting to put those 3 men in jail because what they did was disgusting. Some time passed by. It was a pretty long trial, I would say, and they were trying to figure out if they should get death penalty or not. All 3 men were charged with kidnapping and murder. King and Brewer were sentenced to death, but the other person, Barry, he received a life in prison. So justice was served. Thankfully, they did not let this case slip through the cracks. But think about the cases that were slipped through the cracks. And it's very sad to say, but James' murder helped expose the white supremacy in that town. The town even took down the fence that was separating the black cemetery and the white cemetery apart. This is proof of what happens when a certain group of people are unheard and overlooked and not taken serious. Rest in peace to James Byrd. Thank you guys for watching. This case was not an easy case to talk about nor to hear. And if you subscribed to me or chose to, thank you so much.